Hey everyone, we're here today to talk to you about some different strategies you can use in your digital marketing campaigns. There's so many sophisticated ways that you can target either as wide or as niche as you want to, depending on the type of business that you have. My name is Fallon Sinclair, and this is Haley Zimmerman, and we are both members here on the digital strategy team at FTE, and we're going to kind of walk you through some of these capabilities today.
Yes, so Fallon and I are in the digital department at our agency, and we are the ones who kind of are behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons, pulling all the levers for your digital campaigns. So that could include display, connected TV, search engine marketing, pre-roll, YouTube. That's all us in our strategy team. So we are the ones who are qualified to talk to you today about the display sales funnel. So we like to think about display campaigns as a funnel in and of itself, as kind of a tool as part of your larger sales funnel. So looking into the display sales funnel, it's going to go from wide to super narrow and niche. So we're going to walk you through the strategies that we use to kind of keep people in your funnel and then pull them down the funnel, and then you refill your funnel. So, Fallon, would you like to start at the widest,
Yes.
the first one?
So at the widest, we have our basic principle of just geography, and that kind of just curbs your ads where they need to go to your target market and not outside of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the big thing with geography that we want to keep in mind is the waste. So, starting on a geography, you want to make sure it's definitely where your target audience is. It's where the people who you want to talk to are. So kind of thinking about how traditional TV is, you kind of had to target DMAs. So I think that's something we're all familiar with, is that TV, cable broadcast, you're typically targeting DMAs. And that's great if that's all you can do, but with display and with connected TV, but that's a conversation for another day. With digital advertising, you can get so much more targeted than that. You can go down to a zip code level. So thinking about the zip codes that are pertinent to you, especially in big cities. So if you think about somewhere like Miami, Florida, Miami is ginormous. There's almost 3 million people who live there. So if you're like, I want to cover Miami, well, maybe that's going to have some waste. You're going to be talking to people that aren't in your target audience, whether that's because of just high-level demo info or where they live, where they're hanging out. So you want to think about the zip codes that are pertinent to you. Maybe that's your top 10 sales zip codes. That's always super nice to have. If you look through your CRM data, you pull out the ones who have historically performed well for you. Or if you don't know that, you could do a radius around your store. Maybe think about, well, our salespeople wouldn't want to drive more than 15 miles, 30 miles, something like that, to kind of narrow that focus down a little bit more. Or if you already know, I think we just want to do the 3 zip codes near our store, that's this, this, and this, great. We can do that for you too. So just thinking about where your audience hangs out, cut out the waste so we're not wasting impressions there.
And then something else to think about too is your budget. I mean, if you have a smaller budget for certain campaigns, if you're trying to target the most dense 10 zip codes in a giant city, your budget's not really going to stretch as far. Your message is going to start to get a little watered down depending on how big of the city is.
Absolutely.
And so the next step after that is we move into contextual targeting. Haley, how do we typically use that in a campaign?
Yeah, so contextual is kind of the next step down from geographic. So kind of thinking about that in that funnel, that'd be kind of the second tier, if you will. And contextual is targeting people based on the website content they're reading. And that's the way that's identified is the publishers of those websites. So let's take hdtv.com. So they're going to have these kind of tags on their content. That's home improvement, new couches, sunrooms, front doors, anything that would be pertinent to that content. And then we can target content based on kind of big buckets of those identifiers. So HGTV is going to be home improvement, and ESPN is going to be sports and news. Weather channels, obviously weather. So things that are in general categories. And this is really good if you have kind of a general product or a lot of different products in that way that's not super niche. So for example, if you're selling new front doors, and that's what your business is, Home improvement would be a good site for you because people are looking for home renovation. They're looking for just ideas and inspiration and things like that. So you kind of want to be in front of those people who are reading that type of content. If you were, a really niche manufacturer of a certain type of, let's say, rubber or engineering part, probably not a good fit for you because you're looking for a really specific type of person. So contextual targeting is cookieless, which is also good. That's kind of going into the cookie conversation that we're hearing right now about, whether it's iOS updates or Google Chrome updates, is kind of go into a cookieless environment. Contextual is one of those places that is cookieless, which is a nice little way to target people without that.
For sure. So next up we have behavioral targeting, and it's just as it sounds. We're targeting people based on their internet behavior. There's a lot of things available to us that it can get really specific. We can target yoga moms or tech gurus or even people who have frequented Buffalo Wild Wings in the past 30 days or anything like that, really.
Yeah, so there's a ton of data companies who, are gathering data about your internet behaviors. And most of it's pretty, it's not as invasive as maybe we think it is. So the data that we're finding in our world is those cookies that I just kind of talked about. So you go to a website, they put this little thing in your browser, kind of follows you around the internet, looks at what you're clicking on, what you're reading, those sorts of things. But then there's also some data that's sold. We're not going to get into that, but there is that out there. The important thing to note about behavioral is when we're thinking about both the cookie conversation and as users ourselves, we all use the internet, so it can be kind of hard to learn that, oh, you're going to follow me around the internet. Well, no, not exactly.
Not exactly.
I don't know it's, Haley Zimmerman is clicking this, and this, or subscribes to this, and this. Most of the time, it's just a device ID. So it's a device ID that's hashed out any of your personal information. We don't know what it is. We don't know it's Susie Smith has a dog and does this and bought this type of dog food. We know it's device XYZ buys this type of dog food, probably has a dog. Maybe we can serve them a ad for dog collars. So it's really more unanimous than maybe we might think it is when someone tells you that. But that behavioral data is so good. And I think some things people don't understand is that behavioral data is kind of a relationship. So when you're thinking about that and about the ads that you get served, the goal is to serve people ads that are relevant to them. So, we don't want to waste a shoe ad on you if you're not going to buy shoes and you don't want to see it. Maybe you want to see a video game ad, which would be more in line with your interests. So it's really just, it's the relationship of the internet, and then that behavioral data in our world, we can use that to serve more relevant ads based on those behaviors.
Absolutely. And so kind of moving down the funnel now, we have made it to some location-based targeting, which is in the form of geofencing and location conquesting. And so you've probably heard the word geofencing at some point, and it's just exactly as it sounds. We set up a digital geofence around a location, whether it be a neighborhood, a park, an event, or even your competitors' locations or businesses. And then we take that and kind of only serve on mobile devices when they're inside of this geofence. So whether they're accessing it on mobile apps or even the mobile web, it will only show if they enter this specific digital geofence that we've created, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then on the flip side, so that's like real time. Geofencing is real time. You're visiting there, and then when you leave, you can't get targeted anymore. Then with location conquesting, it's kind of the opposite. So we're going to take that digital fence and we're going to kind of set it up just as Fallon has described. But in location conquesting, it's more about past behavior. So think about location conquesting kind of like a behavior of past geographic visitations. It's not so much that we found that through all these behaviors, you're a dog lover. It's we found because you went to Petco, you probably have a pet.
Exactly.
So it's taking the location, targeting that, and then you take all the device IDs that were seen there, and you put them in a pool of people, and then you serve ads to that pool. And what's really neat is we can target pools of people who have been to certain places up to 12 months after they even went. So in some people's sales cycle, that could be huge. Depending on how fast your user converts, we can still talk to those people.
Exactly. And so now we're getting a little bit more nitty gritty. We're going to move into some keyword list targeting. So in this sort of strategies, we either use search retargeting or contextual keywords. And so these types of targeting are really good for businesses that have a very specific product or service that maybe some more general targeting wouldn't really work for them. So we take these lists and we curate very specific lists of keywords that only relate to their business for this niche business or service or whatever it may be. So Haley, how would we use those two types of strategies in a campaign?
Yeah, so just kind of like how Fallon described, instead of contextual that we touched on earlier, that's kind of general categories of content, we are now looking for specific keywords in the content. So that can allow us to be a lot more niche. So if you're a industry blog typing about the specific rubber, specific engineering process that your B2B business does, we can use those and target those keywords, which is awesome because that can be directly relevant to your business. So in contextual keywords, that's on web content. So just kind of like it sounds, mirroring contextual that we spoke about earlier to keywords that we're talking about now, marry those together. And then in search retargeting, it's keywords that we've identified. It's a list of those keywords that people have typed into search engines, which is crazy. So super awesome. Now this isn't to be confused with search engine marketing. So search engine marketing is that real-time searching where at the top of your Google search you'll see the paid ads. It's like 1, 2, 3. It's not that. It's a historic look of people who have typed those keywords into search engines. So if I did go to Google in the past 30 days and I typed in hotel stays in Florida, whether I typed it in Google, I could type it in Yahoo, Bing, and then even search engines that we might not think are search engines, but they have a search bar, we can pull that data too. So if I went to kayak.com or hotels.com and I typed in hotels in Florida, it can give me that sort of data too. So it's really wide range of places we can pull those keywords from and try to talk to people that we have a pretty good inclination really know what they're searching for. So you don't really have to, since we're kind of near the bottom of the funnel, you don't have to pull them through all that brand awareness. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're looking for. So you can say, hey, we've got what you're looking for. It's this. And hopefully then people will, convert more quickly because then we're at the bottom of the funnel.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's a very valuable strategy, especially for these very specific businesses. So finally, we get to the bottom of the funnel, which is retargeting. Retargeting has become so much more sophisticated over the years. It's not just retargeting to people who have visited your website, but it's people who have converted on specific actions on your website, whether it's a lead form or a sales. And we can even retarget to people who have watched your connected TV ad or even your online audio ad like Spotify.
Yeah, so retargeting is so great. I mean, it's the bottom of the funnel. It's the people who are, most interested in your business themselves because they've been to your website or they've interacted with you in some way. So it's like almost like a cold call versus someone who already has been in contact with you. So, it's not someone saying, hi, I'm this person, here's who I am. They already semi-know who you are. So you can continue that conversation with a little more information or entice them to come back and, then convert. So, you might be wondering if retargeting is so great, it's the bottom of the funnel, it's usually the direct action before someone makes a sale. Why don't we just do that? Let's just do all of retargeting all the time. That's great. Well, that's fine in the short term, but then who's filling the rest of your funnel? So, you have to think about that in that sales funnel that we've just laid out is that, those bottom people are going to eventually run out and you're going to have to fill that funnel again. So that's why we do like these really robust digital strategies because you're talking to a lot of people in different places of your sales journey. And so just moving people through that funnel, and then retargeting being that last, solid piece to get them back to your website to make a sale or call your dealership or look you up on Google or something of that nature. That's something that will bring them to an action that will get them to you. So retargeting, great, love it, but not the only piece of your sales funnel.
Yeah, every strategy is valuable in its own right, and no marketing plan is a kind of one size fits all. So our team here at FTE, we take our time and kind of match each individual business with the types of strategies that will really work for their business.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for joining us today. We really hope you were able to gain more insight into how valuable your display sales funnel can really be. As an added bonus, our business development team will be sending you a link to this recording as well as our digital playbook as an added bonus to you, absolutely free. It's chock full of helpful marketing tips, explanations, and explorations of the digital marketing realm. And if it all sounds like a good fit for you or that you want to learn more, please reach out to your business development team member in your market, and they will be happy to help you, and hopefully we'll be seeing your business in the future. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.